Hello. Today we're going to learn about the EU AI Act. So this is a publication from the European Union about the regulations around AI related developments. This is perhaps one of the first publication from any jurisdiction. So it's quite highly cited in various publications, and people have talked about it in various forums about the regulations required for AI developments, right? So let's go through what this document says and what are the general guidelines published in the European Union for people developing AI systems. I'm going to talk about it in the context of financial service, but I think most of it is also applicable in other industries, right? So this is the first comprehensive AI regulation, I think, in any jurisdiction, large jurisdiction. European Union is, I think, second largest economy in the world outside of the US, is the biggest. So that's why it's quite important. And it's, the intention is quite good, which is to make sure that AI development is done in a transparent way and it's trustworthy and it's not misused. So it is applicable to all kinds of entities involved in AI development, whether it's providers, deployers, users, distributors, and so on and so forth. And doesn't matter where the company is based, uh, as long as the services are being provided in the European Union, then these guidelines, these regulations are applicable to that provider, right? So it's also applicable to the US companies which are providing services in European Union. There were a few updates since it was published first in 2024. It was updated more recently to take into account a few more advances that have happened in the last 2 years. All right. As I said, the objective is quite clear. It's to protect the rights and safety of people in European Union, but it's also made clear that it should not be a hindrance to innovation and AI adoption. So EU, in at least on paper, they are saying that they're not against it, but obviously people have questioned that intention that more regulation in EU will only hamper innovation in AI space, especially given the fact that EU has lacked hugely when it comes to advancing technology adoption, right, compared to the US. All right. So the main thing in the EU Act is that the framework defines the AI systems into four categories, and the risks taken because of the use of AI into four categories. Um, so AI systems can be categorized into four different categories based on the level of risk. One is the unaccepted level of risk, or is prohibited. Basically, it's not even allowed. And then you have high risk. It's allowed, but it entails very high risk. Then you have limited risk, and you have minimal uh, risk. Okay, and we'll talk about it, but maybe a bit of an example. Okay, unacceptable risk is about social scoring. You probably have heard about social scoring happening in China. So government um, cannot use social scoring AI systems in European Union. But there are also the other prohibited AI systems which are not allowed. We'll talk about that. High risk systems allowed, but you have to do it under very tight scrutiny, especially in sectors like healthcare and financial services where the stakes are very high. Limited risk, which is about chatbot. You know, I think most industry nowadays use chatbots. Not a problem, but it does bring some risk. For instance, the person who is talking to the chatbot must know that he or she is talking to a chatbot, not to a real human being. And that's quite important. Minimum or minimal risk is the one like generating images and using footage in video games and so on. That's almost no risk, so there's hardly any restriction there. All right, so unacceptable risk, as I've said, is about social scoring by governments. That's not allowed. Some Asian countries do that. Any manipulative activities using exploratory AI. Biometric activities also are not allowed. Certain biometric activities, not all, right? And biometric activity is actually quite important in the European Union because I think most European Union countries have their own biometric systems. So they collect data from individuals on a regular basis. They cannot do that through AI systems, fully automated AI systems. That's what it is. High risk AI systems. It's mostly in education, employment. You certainly can use AI in education and employment, but you cannot. Uh, you have to put in a lot of checks and balances. In areas like healthcare and medical services, or financial services, insurance, investments, you can use AI systems, but you have to use these systems very carefully. You must have documentation in place. There are a host of requirements, regulatory and compliance requirements that are important before you use these systems. Uh, okay, and I will focus more on the financial service sector. For high risk sector, it's important that you have a proper risk management in place. In financial service, risk management is not a new thing. There are already analytic systems in use in most financial service industries for various things. For fraud detection, for anti-money laundering prevention, for customer due diligence, for credit scoring, for managing portfolio, for recovery and resolution, and so on and so forth. So it's not new in the financial service world. However, this time the guidelines are a lot stricter compared to in the past, where people were using more machine learning, statistics based systems. But now with AI systems, the requirements are a bit more stricter, and we'll talk about that. Okay. What is also expected is that you should have high quality data sets. I think financial service companies, anyone who's worked in financial service companies will tell you that the quality of data sets in financial service systems, financial service industry is just not good. Human oversight is emphasized a lot. In other industry, people are talking about automation, automation, automation. In finance, you cannot simply do that without human oversight. So there has to be human beings validating, checking, monitoring the output from AI systems. Transparency and documentation goes without saying is extremely important in the financial service industry. For everything that is done in finance, especially in the banking world, for the last bank which are highly regulated, you need to have documentation in place for everything that you do. It's currently a practice, and it has been extended also for the AI systems. And banks need to also take care of the cyber security aspect. With the number of AI models being shift to production, I would say quite um, yeah, in a fast-paced way nowadays. These are susceptible to cybersecurity issue, and banks must ensure that that's also taken care of. Then there's something called generative AI or GPAI. Okay, and this is a term I think has come from the Gen AI, and that has to do with the LLM models that we are talking about, right? So when the EU AI worked as formulated, it was for more generic AI, everything AI related. It could also mean some advanced machine learning models also being considered as AI models. But with generative AI, Gen AI models, things are a bit different, right? So the separate categorization of AI models into GPAI is based on some computing power. I'm not fully sure what's the threshold, but for Gen AI models, it already breaches the threshold. The amount of compute that is needed for Gen AI is actually much higher than the traditional other machine learning or less sophisticated AI models. And therefore, there is a separate categorization here. Okay. The reason why this has been done is because with so much of compute, it's very, very difficult to actually trace the result, trace the journey of data from inputs to output, and it's practically impossible sometimes. So there's a separate categorization therefore, right? But that's not the case for other such models, such as if you build some of a machine advanced machine learning model, you can still stress the data, like how it flows to the model and how it you can reproduce the results more easily, but that's not always the case for generative models like LLM models, right? Okay, so there is stringent, even more stringent regulation around that. And if it produces or it has any chance of producing systemic risk means risk that is beyond just that entity that is using, it can also spill over to other industry, and it can result in a countrywide risk or global risk. Then there will be even more stricter oversight that is needed. Okay, all right. So the penalty for misuse of models, any models, normal AI models or Gen AI models, can be up to 35 million euros or 7% of annual turnover, which is quite big in my view. But that's not a surprise, because in the EU, if you're operating, you have to be prepared for fines, and that's something we have also seen. Many tech companies, whether it's Facebook or Google or Microsoft, all have been fined in the European Union, so it's not a surprise for them either. The impact on businesses in the European Union is not just for the companies which are developing AI. The, these requirements are also applicable for companies using AI, right? If a bank is using AI for all kinds of activities, it has to ensure that regulations are met. It's not that only the vendor which is providing the AI system is accountable or responsible for that, right? So therefore, the need of AI governance is quite important. Most banks do not have proper AI governance in place. Most banks do not have people skilled in AI governance. So that's also another issue. Compliance and audit costs will go up. That's not a surprise to me, because every time there is new innovation, it has to go through a list of compliance requirements and audit requirements, then that will increase their cost. But it's a good thing for people looking for opportunities in compliance and audit. And that's what I always tell to many people, that the risk management, compliance related activities are now moving from those manual activities to now more oversight activities, control activities, and monitoring activities. So one should really prepare himself or herself for that. Improve trust and accountability opportunities. I mean, it goes without saying that it has to happen. But more than that, I think there also the EU paper is also encouraging companies to innovate more on that and not be too scared of that. Although there are skeptics, there are a lot of people who question the intention here. Um okay, so some of the key takeaways here. It's a report that is widely discussed now in the last 2 years. It's mainly for the European Union and countries in the European Union, but even other governments around the world are taking cues from this particular publication. And it's risk based. It's not like everything is banned or everything is allowed. There is categorization, and we discussed about the 4 different categories of risks. But one message is very clear: organizations around the world who are operating in the European Union, they need to prepare for their compliance requirements with regards to the use of AI. Some of the obligations if you are using AI models in finance, okay, and there can be many use cases, whether it's fraud detection, whether it's credit scoring, portfolio management, so on and so forth. Risk management is absolutely important, right? It's not even a choice, and banking world is already familiar with this, but this is spelled out even in a more bigger way, I would say, in this particular document. Documentation, technical documentation is quite important. You should be able to trace back the information that you have used in the AI system. There must be data lineage. There are a lot of requirements for data governance. So there's a lot of demand for people skilled in data. Human oversight is important. Conformity assessment is probably a new terminology for many of you. It's about doing a proper assessment yourself. It's more like um, testing a software system very well before you ship it to production. So testing requirements are actually more stringent nowadays with AI, right? How does AI affect modeling such as credit scoring, for example, um, and lending decisions, right? Very high risk area, first of all. So one has to be very careful. What I've heard from people is that banks are quite careful about using AI for credit scoring. I mean, they're not using AI for credit scoring directly, but even for just documentation, filing and all of that, they're very careful in Europe. In US, it's actually the opposite. In US, I think the likes of JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs, they're collaborating with Anthropic for automating the credit application process. But in European Union, that is still a gray area whether how much of that is allowed and whether banks will be able to comply with the regulatory requirements or not, or will the regulatory costs will be more than what they will be saved, they will be able to save through automation. So that discussion is still underway. Human oversight is quite important if you're using that, and fully automation is not allowed. Also quite important to note. Data governance, as I've said before, it has never been more important, especially in the age of AI. What data you're using will determine what is the quality of output from your AI system. Well, it's actually true for any kind of a model, but this is more true for AI simply because it's such a black box that it's difficult to trace actually where things are going wrong. It could also be the case that the AI system is doing a good job, but it's just that the quality of the input data is just too bad. So the need of high quality data and to be able to have a proper governance around that is super important nowadays, right? So one should be able to monitor the data drift. That means how the data is changing over time, how the model is performing over time, right? And it's not just about the data that is used for the agentic AI, it's also the data that is used for the training of the frontier model, right? So they're both things which are important. There's something called bias mitigation duty under the EU Act. I think that's the last point we'll discuss, which is about that the banks must ensure that bias is prevented. The whole point of having this requirement is to ensure that banks do not discriminate people on the basis of the color, age, gender, sexual orientation, um, and so on and so forth. I think this is not new in the banking world. If you're building a credit score, you cannot use the personal information, right? PII information. And GenAI models are using the PII information. I think they are using the PII information while training these LLM models. So does that really, bias some of the decision making process? I am not 100% sure, but at least the regulation is very clear that shouldn't happen, and it is up to the banks now to defend that's indeed not happening. So point here is that that has to be monitored on a regular basis. All right, thanks guys.